All right, good day, everybody, and welcome to Headline Hits with LW. It's brought to you by that Patriot-owned business, the one I keep talking about. 97% American-made products right here in the good old U.S. of A. You can shop online, you can have it shipped right to your house, and you can check that out at lwnfliptheswitch.com. They are a proud sponsor of LWN here. So, with that being said, today is Wednesday, May the 11th, 2022. A lot in the news today, a lot of things going on. I've heard that Texas has a recall on baby formula, and so their shelves are bare. I just heard that there was another state that actually started locking it up. What's going on with the baby formula? And how about those pregnant men? All right, let's hit the next first headline this morning. Man, a lot of tongue twisters. I have a feeling I'm going to have a couple of them this morning. So let's talk about what's going on in Europe. The European Union ends air travel, dirty diaper on your face mandates. Why am I bringing this up? It's because this thing is really losing its power. But pay attention, folks, because we're going to have a very short window here of warm summer temperatures, and then we're going to roll into fall. And guess what? They're already planning the next big one. So, Berlin AP, the European Union, will no longer require diapers to be worn on at airports and on airplanes starting next week amid the easing of the sickness restrictions across the bloc, however you pronounce it. Authorities said on Wednesday. The European Union Aviation Safety Agency said it hoped to the joint decision made with European Center of Disease Prevention and Control would mark, quote, the big step forward in normalizing air travel, end quote, for passengers and crew. So the European Union is doing it. I know that we talked about this a few weeks ago, that the airlines here are also supposed to be doing it. This is my question, everybody. Why do they got to put a date on it? Why do they got to say next week? Or why do they got to say May 23rd or May 31st? Obviously, if you can pick a date, you can just say, you know what, starting today, we're done. Just why does there have to be a date? Why do you got to push it out a week? Anyway, frustration on my part. Let's talk about how powerful Donald Trump still is. And a lot of us still believe he's still president. So Trump backed candidates 58-1 in primaries following races in Nebraska and West Virginia. Let's just say that the Trumpsters are alive and well and very strong. And that includes Trump himself. Candidates backed by former President Donald J. Trump are now 58-1 in Republican primaries as three Trump endorsed candidates secured the Republican nominations in their respective races in West Virginia and Nebraska Tuesday, while one candidate came up short. I'm just bringing this up because, there's a lot of people out there that say it's over for Trump. I don't believe so. I believe it's just starting. I believe that we're going to see a massive, and I mean massive. Just think about this for 1 minute. I just want to take a pause. We all know that November of 2020, I believe that he won 46, 48 states. I know a lot of people say that he won 50. So think about this for 1 minute. All the people that supported him in 2020 and voted for him in 2020. Think about all the people that voted for this donkey that's supposedly in the White House right now. Think of how pissed they are right now. Think about gas prices and grocery prices and housing prices when they're out there trying to find a place to rent. Think about the southern border crisis. Think about all the restrictions and mandates, how they forced employees to take certain vacations, this, that, and the other. Think about all those people. And you think for 1 minute, come the election of 2024, that those same people that voted for the shell of a man who's supposedly running the country right now are going to vote for him a second time? I'm telling you, folks, it's going to be big. It's going to be big. All right, let's talk about Koch brothers. Koch network cheers Biden's extension work permits for illegal aliens as 12 million Americans are jobless. Now, I know a lot of this sounds like doom and gloom, but really it's not. It's not doom and gloom. Remember this: if you don't know, you can't prepare. All right? If you don't know, you can't prepare. So I'm letting you guys know what's out there in the news so you guys can be a little bit prepped up and just pay attention to what's going on around us. The billionaire Koch brothers network of donor class organizations are cheering President Joe Biden's automatic extension for work permits for border crossers and illegal aliens. This month, Biden's United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, the USCIS agency, announced a rule that increases the automatic extension period for work permits by up to 540 days. Now, how long is that, folks? There's 360 days in a year, correct? So that's a year and a half, maybe a little less than a year and a half, a little more than a year and a half. They're wanting to extend that for illegals. As Robert Law from the Center of Immigration Studies notes, many of those work permits are held by border crossers and illegal aliens. Now, the Koch brothers go further to say that they think it's a great idea and they actually want it to extend further than 540 days. Their support of this policy comes as nearly 12 million Americans remain jobless, but all of them want full time jobs with high wages and competitive benefits. Another 4 million Americans are underemployed, stuck in part time jobs, but want full time employment. This is a crisis, folks. The southern border is a crisis. We all know it. We've been talking about it here for quite a while. Well, since day one, actually. Since January 20th, we've been talking about the border crisis, and this just adds to it. This extends that crisis, it makes it worse. Just thought I'd bring that up. All right, next headline. I talked about it last night. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more because I heard today the Supreme Court is supposed to vote. Jen Psaki says White House encourages peaceful protest outside the justice's home. Now, I reported on this last night, but I want to read a little further. I want you guys to hear a little bit more of what they're talking about. So stick with me. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said Tuesday that the Biden administration encourages peaceful protest outside the homes of Supreme Court justices, despite the fact that such protests aim to intimidate the judiciary and appear to be illegal. Now, we talk about, and I talked about this last night on the big show, about how everything that this administration is involved in is illegal, including November of 2020. As Breitbart News reported Saturday, mobs of pro abortion protesters gathered outside the homes of Supreme Court justices after the leak of a draft majority opinion by Justice Samuel Alito that would reverse Roe v. Wade. Though the protesters have been peaceful, they are virtually unprecedented as a way to pressure the highest court both directly and personally. Now, I read further into this article and I want to share this with you. Listen to this. This is how illegal this administration is. Remember, when it came to restrictions and mandates, the court said, no, this is illegal. The Biden administration went around the court and told employers to continuously force mandates and restrictions on their employees. Everything about this administration is null and void, including the election. Title 18 of the U.S. Code Section 1507 makes protest outside the private residence of a federal judge a federal crime. On Friday, Psaki was asked about impending protests, but declined to condemn or criticize them. On Monday, she issued a tweet denouncing violence, but did not specifically mention the protests outside the homes of the Supreme Court justice. On Tuesday, during her daily White House briefing, Psaki was asked whether the president felt that, quote, the demonstrators outside of, say, Justice Alito's house or home are those attempts to interfere or intimidate. The reporter noted that the Department of Justice had responded quickly and harshly to protesters outside the homes of school board members in recent months. So the DOJ didn't like the fact that protesters were outside the homes of certain school board members' houses, but yet when it comes to the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court justices and their private residence, they don't care. Psaki evaded the question, accusing critics of hypocrisy. Imagine that. All right, let's hit the next headline. This lady gets me all fired up. So does this guy here, the ice cream man, all pudding pop, pudding in his pants, hair sniffer. Breitbart Business Digest. Inflation may slow, but it isn't going away. I'm going to read you the numbers here in just a minute. There are likely to be a lot of discussion around the idea that March was, quote, peak inflation, end quote, if the consumer price index, the CPI, for April comes in as expected on Wednesday, which it is Wednesday. So, what are some of those numbers? Well, let's talk about it. Worse than expected. Consumer prices up 8.3% in April. Inflation retreated in April but remained higher than forecast. The Department of Labor said Wednesday that the consumer price index rose 8.3% compared to a year ago. Prices were up 0.3% compared to the prior month. This is the 11th straight month of inflation above 5%. Prices rose at an annual rate of 8.5% in March. This was the month since September 2021 that the year over year inflation figure was not higher than the month earlier. So now they're considering inflation at a retreat. That's bullcrap. Economists have forecasted CPI to rise by 0.2% for the month and 8.1% compared to a year ago. Core CPI, which excludes, now listen to this. They are talking about inflation, but the inflation excludes. What does the word exclude mean? It means they are not adding it to the inflation number. It excludes food and energy. So food prices are rising, energy prices are skyrocketing, and that's not even figured into this comparison. So, what is the true inflation? We'll find out here soon. I got Andy coming on next Monday night. And remember, he's done the numbers for us. I think the last time we talked about it, it was somewhere around 14 to 15%. But yet, the last time I had Andy on, he said it was up around 18%. What does that mean for the U.S. economy? I don't know. We're going to talk about it Monday. Here is something that goes hand in hand. Grocery store prices up 10.8%. Most in nearly 42 years as Americans face higher prices on hamburger meat, baby food, chicken, bacon, soup, and coffee. We're all feeling the squeeze, folks. I went to the store this last weekend and I went to buy a very small bottle of mayonnaise. I typically pay about $4.50 for it. 5.5 was probably the highest price I remember seeing it. It was almost $9, almost double for mayonnaise. And I'm talking about Best Foods. I'm talking about even some of the knockoff brands, extremely high. It even got more difficult in April for American families to put food on the kitchen table in January. Food prices rose 9.4 compared with a year earlier. Data from the Department of Labor showed on Wednesday. That is the fastest rate of inflation for food since 1981. Now, in 1981, I was around 7 years old, so I wouldn't have known that. But my parents, they felt that pressure. They felt that price increase. They were raising kids in the 1980s during inflation. And I know a lot of you probably were as well. Grocery store prices were up even more, 10.8%. The broader consumer price index rose by 8.3%. Now, let's read some of the stuff that we're talking about here. Importantly, these prices are seasonally adjusted, so they cannot be explained by typical the end of holiday shopping season sales. Remember, that's a big thing when they calculate all this, the holiday sales and the curve after the holiday sales. Well, they can't count on that in this index. This is something that is right in front of your face. Here are some of the most striking moves in food prices. I'm going to read these for you just real quick. Ground beef up 14.8%, steaks up 11.8%, bacon up 17.7%, pork chops up 14%, chicken up 16.4%, fresh fish up 13%. Fresh whole milk up 15.5%. Coffee up 13.5%. Fresh fruit up 18.3%. Lettuce up 12.7%. Salad dressing up 13.1%. Soups up 13.1%. Baby food up 13%. Breakfast cereal up 12.1%. Bread up 9.1%. Biscuits and muffins up 10.1%. And lunch meats follow up with a 14.1% increase. Eating out is really not a better option. Fast food prices are up 7%, and full service restaurant prices are up 87%. Even vending machine prices are up 7.1%. All right, last headline for today. Let's talk about concrete boots and how fast Biden's sinking. He has been since day one. Biden's job approval underwater in 46 states, including dark blue California. Well, the phone conversation I had this morning, we totally disagree. California is not dark blue. California bleeds red. I believe in 2020, California voted red. That's what I believe. President Joe Biden's job approval rating is underwater in 46 states, including the typically, keyword, typically dark blue California, according to the CIVIQS rolling job approval rate. Biden is underwater in 46 states, including California, which abundantly voted for him in 2020. That is a lie. All right, here's some of the percentages. You guys can check this on Breitbart News, but I'm going to read the bottom of this article. I'll just hit a couple of these real quick. Alabama is at 66% disapproval, Arizona at 58% disapproval, California at 47% disapproval, Michigan 53% disapproval, New York at 46% disapproval. It lists all the states. You guys can read that. But here's the bottom line. There are only 4 states where Biden's approval is above water. Here are the states. Hawaii, 49% approval, 41% disapproval. Maryland, 46% approval, 42% disapproval. Massachusetts, 46% approval, 42% disapproval. And Vermont, 51% approval and 37% disapproval. My question to you is, what the heck is the line where he's actually above water? That doesn't sound like above water to me. That sounds like he's completely under. Overall, the poll showed Biden with only 35% approval from the respondents and 51% disapproval, a 10% of who no opinion. And the poll showed that he is at a net approval of negative 19. Wow. Those concrete boots are heavy. This comes nearly 6 months before the midterm elections in November, when the Democrats have little to show, little accomplishments. I ask you this, what the heck? What accomplishments are you guys even talking about? What are you going to be able to say on the stage and the campaign trail for accomplishments under this administration? If you are a Democrat, you're in trouble. After being in office for over a year, Biden has seen some of the lowest approval ratings after dealing with many problems such as supply chain crisis, record high inflation, a botched Afghanistan withdrawal. Additionally, the marquee legislation of his legislative agenda, the 1.75 trillion Build Back Better Act, the BBB, that has been dead in the water for months. Now, I have to say this, those are all man made crises. Those are all man made problems by you, sir, Joe Biden, and your administration. We shouldn't have supply chain issues. You created that. We shouldn't have record high inflation. You created that. We shouldn't have had a botched Afghanistan withdrawal because Mr. T had a great plan and you created that. Your Build Back Better plan is a joke. The CIVIQS rolling job approval average had 199,661 respondents attract between January 20th and May 9th. There you go, folks. There's today's headlines. It just doesn't get any better than this. This administration is a complete dumpster fire, and we highlight that and point that out each and every day. So for those of you who are following us on Twitter, welcome. For those of you following us over there on True Social and Frank Speech, welcome. We love y'all. Have a great day. I'll be back later this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Podbean. If you guys want to follow me over there for the live show, it's a free app. Download it on your phone. Find us at LWN Podcast. Love y'all. Have a great day.